Okay, we're back. Had a bit of time to cool down after the last race. I had to travel for a week, and so I had some thoughts on how to make this happen. We're really running out of time. I was really hoping when we hit the track that everything would run smoothly and we'd be able to bring the car home and polish it and have it ready for 3 days of on track for Luke for his driver school. But we're not in that spot, and we're going to have to fix it. So let's talk about the things that didn't actually work and the ideas for fixing them. So this is, I think, is the culprit for us losing power suddenly. That's my first guess, at least. So this is, I have to guess that this is pretty old, so it's going to do us no harm to put a new one on. This is a new one, a simple long acre, as they call it, 2-pole master switch. All it does is disconnects the power, right? You've got the battery on one side coming in and then it going back out, well, to a couple of different places, to the different places that the car and the motor needs power. And all this does is switches it on or off, but they are known to go bad. So I did just try a minute ago. I started the car and I kind of shook it around and wiggled this and wiggled wires there, and you know, nothing seemed to affect it. So I don't know that this is really the issue, but I'm kind of running out of ideas here, and the wiring's all fresh, so it's all a bit confusing. So anyway, let's go ahead, let's change this guy out and we'll put the new guy in. Okay, first job, just take the handle off. There we go. Okay. All right, that's the old one off. Just for comparison, the new one's much bigger. So, be interesting to see how it fits in and what it looks like. Okay, first of all, we got to check this hole size is big enough. My guess is they're roughly all the same size. You know, thinking about it, the other thing I should check is just up the front if it's possible that there is anything touching the ignition wiring. Okay, so it's on. We got to be careful not to let these touch off anything, but we'll do a little check here. So we'll move you just to see if you can see the ignition. Okay, hopefully you can see the dash there. There we go. We've got power. No power, that's good. And let's actually start the motor. Okay, ignition on, booster battery in. There we go. So that is working perfectly. So we'll finish up installing that. The other challenge we had was when the car was actually running. It wasn't running very cleanly. So when I tried to accelerate, I'm getting a backfire. And I know what the issue is. The issue is the carburetor. I tried somebody else's carb, borrowed one for one of the sessions in the first time we went out, and actually it worked fine. So we know we have a problem with this carb. I've tried everything at this point, but unfortunately I've had to decide that this carb isn't going to work, and splashed out on this guy, which is a famous Weber carburetor. And so it is the right one for us. It's prepared by Ivy Engines. I believe they're in Seattle. Good guys. They have already helped me out a little bit with the car, with the engine specifically. So what we're going to do is take this guy off and put this guy on. Okay, so taking it off is fairly simple. We've got, you can't see it from this angle, but we got the fuel line going in here. So we will take that off. We've got 4 bolts actually taking the carb, or sorry, keeping the carb on. And then this is our throttle. And so we need to just disconnect that. We'll disconnect it here. So relatively simple, quick thing to do. And then what we'll do is we will attempt to fire it up and make sure that all is good. Now, we won't be able to really see if there's any major issues here, but we're not going to get it to the right RPM or anything like that. A little bit of fuel here on the hose. Okay, so that is the hose done. There are 4 bolts holding it onto the manifold. So we just release those. This one I think is a little bit tricky. Unfortunately, I've done this quite a few times already. In fact, that's kind of true about everything on this car. If we were to measure the amount of times I've taken the carb off or the manifold off or put a spanner to the car compared to the amount of laps I've actually completed or it has actually completed, that would be relatively low. To be honest with you, I've never had a car be as much trouble as this. I think I've attempted to go on the track probably about 10 sessions now, and I'm not sure I've even made 10 laps in total across all those sessions. Now, to be fair, it wasn't a finished car, and you never really know the provenance of all the parts. Right? I don't know exactly where they came from. So like this carb, for example, is an old carb. It's been rebuilt. I've rebuilt it as well. But to be honest with you, it has an interesting actuation method that a lot of people don't use anymore. And so likely there is something wrong with it in that regard. So that's the problem. And the car's old. So the parts are going to be old as well. It's just the way it is. So you got to work your way through everything and find the problems, recondition the parts, get new ones, whatever. So that is what we are in the process of doing. Okay, we'll take our 4 bolts off. There's going to be fuel in this thing as well, so we'll just have to be a little bit careful when we take it off. And then the other thing we've got to work out is the air filter. Need to put that on the new one. Okay, here we go. A little washer there we don't want to lose. Ooh, look at that. Okay, that's our old one out. Here is our new one. Right, no special instructions here. So we can just pop it straight on. Actually, before we do that, I want to show you the difference in the actuation, the throttle actuation. So this one, I don't know if you can see it there. See the way there's quarter gears on this one and none on the other? The way it works is there's two throttles in here, which we can look at. And the way it works on this one is they open at the same time. And this one they open sequentially. And this apparently causes more problems than this. And people have gone back to this approach. So that's where we're headed here. Okay, we're getting there. Putting the fuel hose back on this side, which you can't see. Okay, it's on. I can see it actuating really nicely there. Hopefully you can see that. But the proof is in the pudding. So let's try and start it. Now it's going to take a minute because let's get fuel up into the float bowl of the carb. So it'll take a little bit of turning over, but I'm going to get the booster battery and let's try it out. Booster battery is connected. So let's see how we do. Okay, and we have power, hopefully. Okay, see what happens. Okay, that's the fuel that probably was in the there actually was fuel in the manifold, which is wet and maybe a tiny bit just around there. So let's keep going. Interestingly, it sounds different than the other car, but that would make sense, I suppose. Okay, well, let's move on to the next thing. So the new carb is on, which is great, but it presents us with a new problem. This is the air filter that sits on the top, but as you can probably see, it doesn't actually sit down properly on the carb because the carb actually has these studs on it. And it's designed to have those studs because it has a plate, and then this actually attaches to the plate properly. But we don't have that plate. I've looked online, you can't buy them, so we're gonna have to design one, which is fine. We're gonna try 3D printing it, but we're also gonna send it out to a place called Send Cut Send to try and get the plate made in aluminum and then get it laser cut. So I haven't done that before. It'll be a bit of fun. It looks like we've got enough time to get it done properly. I think we're going to need it in metal anyway because I don't think the plastic will be strong enough, but we're going to do both. But first thing I'm going to do is design it. Okay, here's the design. On the one hand, it's quite simple. It's a plate. So if I can move it around for you, which I can't, there we go. You can see it's just a plate, but it's got all these various different curves that need to be cut out of it. This is to clear the mouth of the carburetor, and the two throttle bodies are on here. Then this, and this are for mounting it to the top of the carb. You can see there's something funky going on here. So, and then this is for mounting the air filter onto the plate itself. So what I'm doing is I'm printing this very thinly, so to speak, as a test piece on the 3D printer, and the idea is to see if it is roughly the right dimensions, and we'll tweak it from there. And then once I have it right in plastic, then I'm going to go ahead and order it on Send Cut Send. Never used those guys before, so we'll see if it's any good. And it looks like I can get it done in time to get it back fairly quickly. So this is a nice thing that can be working in the background while we're working on the more serious stuff. Okay, it's finished printing. Let's have a look here. Here it is. Okay, let's see. So this is just a blanking cover, so nothing gets in here. Here's our new test plate. This is just a bit of flashing around the outside, which we can pull off. Not going to worry about it too much for now. Okay, the test. Does it fit? Okay. So, first things first, the general shape is good. We're getting clearance on the entrance to the throttles, and let's get this guy here and do a little bit of a check. So it is approximately the same size. When you look at it here, you'll see that it fits really well, but our little holes for the studs are completely in the wrong place. So it's not bad though. It's pretty close. The other thing I want to check is, so this goes on here. The stud should come through. It should sit flat. We'll put nuts over those. Lock them up nice and tight. Put some Loctite on them so they don't bounce in there if they were to come loose. And then this has to attach to that base plate. And so in order to do that, we're going to have two holes, which are there. And we'll have little pins that kind of drop down through there with crocodile clips on them. But we got to check that they are in the right place. And they appear to be so. Okay, well, I've done a terrible job of locating the holes to allow those studs to go through. I'm completely off on those. I don't know how I did that. One of the challenges, it's hard to measure against this because it's oval, so the reference points are still off. But we got most of the way there. Not good enough. We're not going to send it off to get manufactured, so to speak, at Send Cut Send, but we are close. So we're going to do another round. We'll make this even thinner so we can print it quicker, but we're looking pretty good. I'm happy with that.